Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, so we're playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. This is episode 10 of this arc, the longest arc of anything that I've ever run on here, I think. And we're having a good time. Well, last week, not everybody was having a good time. So anyway, promo stuff. Below the stream are links to our social media, our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our Patreon, which if you enjoy what we do on the channel, you can support us on there, and also our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us and receive up-to-date information on what we're doing and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of what we're doing, the perfect segue, other things that happen on the channel. Wednesday nights are Simba Room. Thursday nights at the moment are the final arc of the Cincinnati Chronicles, which is a World of Darkness system-spanning game that Matt's been running. And a couple of weekends a month, we have different one-shots run by different people, different games, different people playing, etc., etc. And the next one is June the 25th, Land of Eam, which I believe Matt is running and is billed as The Muppets meets The Lord of the Rings. So that's very exciting. But for now, let's have a recap of last week. So first, let's bring on Sam, who plays Hooks. Hey, Sam.
Find the button. Hello.
So you had been dealing with numerous things, one of which was a presumed sea serpent, which had made its way into the sluice gates off the side of the River Thames, and the group had come up with a plan for how to deal with it. And we began the session with the beginning of your execution of that plan.
Yeah, the aforementioned plan, the plan to deal with the serpent, this flawless plan. So yeah, we'd been doing some reading and figured out from various things that we thought it was the sea serpent terrorizing people of the Thames and causing people to vanish mysteriously. There was a captain of I think it was like a fishing trawler or something, who had met us the previous session because his ship had basically been hit by this creature, we thought. And it turned out he could see Vaesen as well and kind of was on board with helping us out. So he was kind of an instrumental part of the plan in rounding up some other crew and getting a few boats that we could fit into the sewers, because Justin's character had been doing a lot of investigation of the sewers for potentially a place we could trap this creature. So we went ahead kind of with a plan to trap it in the sewers and then hopefully somehow deal with it from there. We were going to draw it in using pork because we read that it likes pork. And then myself and B had gone to a whaling shop to pick up some kind of equipment, you know, a harpoon, all that sort of thing. And Constance had also done a bit more reading and figured out that it can like put you in a trance somehow, maybe, or something. So she'd kind of prepped a load of stuff to cover our ears. Turned out absolutely flawless and very helpful in the end. Yeah, we set off with this kind of plan piece together. We were in the sewers, dropped the pork, and then we thought it was probably following us in. Basically, the plan was to trap it between two gates. So dropped off everyone's name, Steve's character's name. When it's not in front of you, it just goes from your head, doesn't it?
Henry,
thank you. Dropped off Henry and one of the sailors on the front kind of section, and there's two gates and it's going to be between the two, hopefully. So they were on the first gate, and on the back gate we dropped off Constance and another sailor, and then the rest of us stayed in the boat. That was kind of the overall plan, and then we draw it in with this fish and then hopefully trap it in the middle and then hopefully deal with it somehow in the middle, maybe by getting it to bite its own tail. That was kind of woolly, that bit. Yeah, that was where we were when we saw the monster approaching.
Great, thanks, Sam. Let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance.
Hey,
Hey, Inga.
yeah, the plan was going swimmingly. The plan was going super well. We've got the thing trapped. It was awesome. And then it all started to go wrong, as is the way of these things. Yeah, so we got it trapped, like Sam said, between the two gates. And it was, thrashing around and freaking out. We managed to get it with the harpoon and starting to tie it off, to the gates and things. But then it sort of stopped thrashing around and slowed down and started kind of slowly rising up to the surface, and its fins appeared and then its little head. And it turns out we were slightly wrong on the guess or hope, I suppose, that it would be like an audio sort of trigger for the kind of hypnotic like ability, and it was a visual sort of triggered thing. So Constance looked away just at the last second, which was very handy because all of the other PCs ended up being, and the captain ended up being transfixed by this thing, and they got kind of taken in by the hypnosis. Also handy that the other sailors had not seen, they couldn't see the Vaesen, so they were also okay. But yeah, so Constance was kind of still had her wits about her and kind of ripped the sort of noise cancelling hat off of Hux and set off a firecracker to kind of wake him up, and then between the two of us we kind of jumped onto the main boat to kind of rescue or like wake up, like to help snap Mosling and B out of it. But unfortunately we weren't able to get to the captain in time, so everyone else was starting to like, while the hypnotized were starting to like untie the ropes and starting to like try, even like pushing themselves through the bars to try and like throw themselves to the serpent, I guess. And unfortunately the captain squeezed through and before we could get to him and save him, so he'd sort of got bitten and pulled under by the sea serpent, to a sad watery fate.
Yeah.
But we managed to rescue the others from their kind of hypnosis, which was very, very good.
Yes, thank you. So let's bring on John, who plays B. Hey, John.
Hi, Jonny.
B was one of the people who was
under the effects.
Yeah.
Luckily Henry had gone out and given us all firecrackers in the hopes that the loud noise might shock us out, and it did, luckily. So we came back to herself. I think she maybe tried to shoot the serpent at one point, and then she sort of, I think there was a kind of mutual agreement that we were going to throw some dynamite at it. So we did. And we lit the dynamite, threw it, pushed, didn't quite make it, and then did make it, and unleashed like a huge tidal wave and a whole bunch of chunks of serpent meat that washed the ship away. With us on it, we were fine. I think a couple of us got a bit bruised, but we were fine.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, because Justin can't join us this week, let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville, who was having somehow an even worse time.
So everything was working absolutely fine. The plan was flawless, apart from taking into account the sheer terror that could be imbued upon you by just glancing at this sea serpent, let alone being hypnotized. Just seeing the thing, this, I don't know, 6 meter long. It was even longer than that, apparently. So yes, when Mosling lit up 2 flares to signal the closing of the gates, that was when Constance and Henry both got their first good sight of the creature. And yes, fear tests were rolled and didn't go very well at all. So here's where we bumped into some of the rules. Henry, I thought, like, this is important. I really want to be able to, stay in this fight. I'll push this fear test roll. So I did, and I got nothing. And because the sea serpent had a fear score of 3, that totally wiped Henry out. That was extra from pushing the roll, 3 conditions from failing the test utterly. So that broke Henry, and he got himself a critical mental injury. which turned out to be, where's the page here? Again, lovely. You know, I get a 6 in that roll. I rolled 65. Invaded by other people's emotions. It was a chronic injury, which meant that there were maximum of 6 rounds in order to heal this condition. Otherwise, Henry would be broken forever, and that would be it. Which caused a little bit of consternation because we were at opposite ends of a locked, gated tunnel at that point. So, you know, it wasn't ideal.
And also, all of us completely unable to hear what's going on.
Yeah, none of the rest of you had
Henry
any idea what. Yeah.
And there was quite a scary sea serpent between us, between those lock gates as well. It was all bad, really, wasn't it?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't great. So incredibly fortunately, so I was there with a sailor, I believe, named Kirk on this first platform, and Kirk was much better at rolling than I was, and managed to finish off closing the gate very quickly, and then had a few rounds with which to try to revive Henry, and did a sterling job. So Henry is still amongst the living, and now has what is known in Vaesen as an insight. So for the rest of this adventure and maybe beyond, we'll have to see how rolls go. Henry has an insight to use, which there's like 4 things you can do. One of them is simply adding 4 dice onto an observation skill test, but there are some other interesting things that an insight can be used for as well. So, you know, there we are. I think Henry now has, you know, he looks like he's aged 10 years. Maybe the stereotypical sort of shock of white hair that suddenly developed with this horrendous shock. And at the end of all of that, the boats with the remaining survivors on, without the captain, sadly, drift back into the Thames, probably in a stream of really churned up bloody water, into sort of like into the river, and maybe a few people beginning to crowd on either side, wondering what the huge explosion was. Maybe seeing 2 boats emerge with some rather battered people on.
Can everyone please make me a perception roll?
Perception. Which one's that?
Oh, sorry. It
Observation?
will be no, because that's personally
Vigilance?
Yeah, vigilance.
Yes, let's do vigilance.
8 dice for me.
1 success.
1 success.
2 successes.
No successes, and I'm not poshing it.
Okay.
Wouldn't that potentially kill you?
Okay, B is very concerned about the fact that there are so many people around, and you're kind of unsure how you're going to, for want of a better term, get away with this. Constance and Hux, there are a lot of people. None of them seem to be seeing you. Like they're kind of, some of them are kind of almost looking directly at you, but it's as if they're looking through you. Steve, Henry, it is a very clear night as previously described, but Henry notices like a slight shimmer in the air. John, what were you doing in the afternoon before this plan was carried out?
In the afternoon before, first of all, I put Adam to bed. And then I went up to the cupboard outside the weapons corridor. And I knocked on the door. And I left like an apple outside as an offering. And I said, "We're going out to do something very dangerous. And I think maybe if you helped us do what Mosling wants to do, then he might be willing to talk to you.
You knocked on the door, didn't you?
Yes.
You hear a quiet knock back in the same pattern as you knocked on the door with.
I turn the doorknob and open it slightly, not like immediately peeking in, but just as like a, you know, that thing where you're not sure if you're allowed in.
A tiny hand reaches out and takes the apple and closes the door. So back on the river. Yeah, Henry is sure that somehow you're not seen. You don't know what this is that's going on here, but you know that you probably want to take advantage of it.
Can I just check in and ask what everyone's conditions are as well? Because I've got all 3 mental before broken.
Same.
Yep.
Everyone
3 mental and 2 physical.
Henry's
This is amazing. Yeah.
Oh, so it clears yours. Oh, okay.
Well, no, because he rolled 4 successes or something.
I see.
Yeah.
God damn.
Every extra success clears.
I am out of it. I think even if I was paying attention to the people, I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to take it, and I'm just like rowing.
We're going to have to explain this somehow. There's going to be news that journalist is going to be after us. We're going to have something to say for the captain's family.
Well, we need to get away first. Can you see this? There's something else at play. There's the shimmering in the air. I'm not sure where. I don't know what's going on.
Now Henry points it out to you. You can all kind of see this. Sam, Hooks probably spots that it's.
Yeah, I might recognize this from my experience. It's that fairy, isn't it? What's it doing here, though?
Do you think it's followed Mosling hit? Look around, see if I can see a fairy.
Yeah, I will also be looking around, see if I can see a fairy on the boat or something, just stowed away.
It's helping.
What? Why would it help?
Well, how about we get out of here before we think about that?
Yeah, I'm not stopping rowing. I'm trying to let's try and go to the other side of the river.
Yeah, hopefully we scouted a sort of an exit point that's reasonably secluded.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's another sort of under a bridge, slight sort of shore that you'd probably plan to pull up on, I think. So yeah, you get there. It's a little way down river. You assumed that you would want to be not right near the scene of the incident when you alighted. So you found somewhere a little way away, which does mean that you've probably got about a half-hour walk back to Rose House, if that's where you're planning on returning to.
I might turn to the other sailors. Oh, was it Steele, Kirk, and
Higgins, I think.
Yeah,
Higgins. Yeah, and just say, if you want to come back with us, there's a small chapel at the house. If you want to say a small prayer for the captain, there's also a well-stocked bar. If a drink is what you need.
Yeah, they're kind of like unbothered when you're talking about the chapel, and then you see all of their eyes light up a little when you mention the well-stocked bar. Yeah, that'd be good on both accounts, I think. And well, there's a lot of people about, so somewhere to keep our heads down.
Yeah, it's best no one knows about this, obviously. That was lucky we got away, though.
The captain mentioned a payment. I don't know if he was giving that out of his pocket or if it was coming from you. Of course, if it was coming from him, we're not going to hunt his family down for it, but
We can sort that at the house.
We have to make things right.
right. Well, I don't know how well you lot know London, but I know some back ways to get us back.
Lead on.
Yes, very well.
And Higgins takes the lead and does indeed take you down some rather dingy sort of alleyways that cut major roadways off and things like that. Yeah, about 25 minutes and you're back at the house. Hawkins greets you as you come in. There was another bit of a shaking akin to the other night, although you all seem to be, well, perhaps a little trouble behind the eyes, but nothing a good night's sleep won't do, I'm sure. Deal with. Tea?
This time, yeah, maybe something a little stronger too. I'll put my hand on his shoulder and go, this time the shaking might have been our doing, but we got it.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it? And he heads off into the kitchen.
I will follow him to go get drinks. Actually, no, I'll head to the nearest pail of water to wash fish, blood, stink, and sewer out of everything. That's probably more important.
That is a good plan,
Yeah.
and I will follow.
Yes, and or to Hawkins, we may need some baths run.
He kind of shouts out, already drawn. Does anybody else know about the cupboard? Is it just B that is aware of it? I can't remember.
I don't know. I was in. I think I was there for the first
Unveiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not certain. I don't know. I can't.
I
Remember.
haven't seen it specifically. I'm pretty sure B kept it secret, so.
I think fairy in cupboard is definitely just B. Like that knowledge. I thought.
It's fine.
Hawkins knows about the weird bit of dirt, but
yeah,
I think that's it.
Cool. Yeah, there are. It's obviously a big house. There are many bathrooms, and any bathroom that you go to has a, steaming hot water in the bath.
I'm back down in like 2 minutes, still in the same clothes, having just drenched myself to get drinks.
Might have to carry you back to...
Look, I've got 3 conditions down. I need alcohol.
Okay, fair
You're
enough.
going to get it all over the sofa.
And the alcohol.
Oh, 3 conditions. I rolled with too many dice on that vigilance roll.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
okay.
true.
I
I'm
remember
forgetting
next
the
time.
condition.
Yeah.
Cool. That works.
Yeah, okay.
God,
I'll
Steve,
mention them next time.
Henry
but
saw something. So.
It's-
I was
it's
going
like
to say,
if you-
Steve got the best roll, so it's...
If you've just got the condition, it's fine. But when it's from previous stuff, you forget that it impacts your rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I will be happily drinking with sailors. That is my entire plan for into the early hours of the morning. That sounds like a good plan.
A good toast to the captain and paying respects in a probably more sailory way than a terribly quiet religious way, but that's okay.
Yeah, Hawkins has the fire stoked and ready for when everybody comes down, and has sort of prepared like sort of post bath robes that you think may have been put in front of the fire to warm them, and they're ready for each of you as you get out of the bath. Whether Hux throws that over his wet clothes or leaves it, I don't know.
Oh, depends how drunk I'm getting, but I might just end up stripping off in the corner of the room and putting the dry bathrobe over. It's yeah.
Are baths also available to our sailor friends? Good.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Can we take the sort of night of drinking as a scene of healing? I can't remember how many that the scene I'm trying to look up in the book at the minute, but can we take that as a conditions scene as well?
Yeah, I've got the feeling that it only fixes one.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it might just be one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got the rules somewhere here.
Here we go. Healing mental conditions. So you can use inspiration in a safe space while having close dialogue to heal 3 conditions per success for someone else, or describe a scene together with one or several other NPCs to recover from 2 conditions except broken once per day.
2 conditions.
So it's 2 conditions.
Okay, 2. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, hopeless and frightened are going. Still angry. It's just kind of a shitty situation, but
Can it be a mental and a physical, or is it all mental?
Yeah, it's just conditions. That one, it's not mental or physical. It's just any conditions.
Cool. If we're drinking into the small hours, I will, once the sailors are drunk, sufficiently drunk, try and coax stories about the good captain out of them. And
I might also just say to them at some point as well, like, I don't think you saw anything. I don't know if you saw anything actually happening at the time, but if in future you ever do see anything strange or inexplicable, you can always find us here again if there's something that seems awry.
Yeah. The captain did tell us once that he was saved by a mermaid. We didn't take him seriously, but I'm not sure exactly what went on in there tonight, but I will say I believe him more than I did before. And they all kind of go, and raise a glass. He was a good man and took care of us, even when we did take the piss. And a couple of them laugh.
What of his family? Is there someone we ought to contact to let them know?
His mother, I suppose, wasn't married or nothing. Too much time on the boats, but
married to the
she'll
sea.
Be sad of it. Well, yeah. He knew what could happen. Didn't want to add anyone else into that. So
yeah, he died saving others.
Yeah. We'll tell his mum.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very strange.
That's it for me in terms
strange
of
evening.
Yeah, like just general chit chat and stuff with sailors, I guess, and sort of, pay respect.
Yeah, my plan is to continue drinking until I'm unconscious. Very irresponsible. Which they might do as well. I don't know. Maybe it's just me in the early hours of the morning.
I think I'd probably be, sort of writing down what I could, not much, recall from the evening. Also writing down, anything like the stories about the captain and notes and that sort of stuff. I'll I want to put a record together, and at least within the society we can memorialize what he's done, and
yeah.
So yeah,
perfect.
I'll be doing that.
That's good. I realize that if one of us writing down his account, it'll basically just sound like Moaning Myrtle's death, won't it? Just like, I saw 2 big eyes over there, and that's the last thing I remember. Just nothing else.
Yes, I guess we'll have to figure out how much you've mentioned on the way. I presume I've caught up. I will have had some questions.
Yeah, well, Constance was going to have a look at that the following day, so we can always fill in some gaps later.
You can ask Drunk Hux anything you like.
I'm guessing most of our discussion of the actual events are going to wait until A, after the sailors have gone, and B, once we're probably all re-sobered. Apart from Hux.
For the record, Constance is not getting like outright smashed. She's having a couple, but she's keeping her wits vaguely about.
I want to find out who else is joining me in drinking till unconsciousness.
I am not.
I'm unconscious, thanks. I'll...
Everyone's
He's wide awake.
Do the sailors at least join me, Jonny?
Yeah, when everybody else comes down in the morning, they find you and the other sailors sort of passed out in your chairs, with the smouldering embers of the fire.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm on the floor by now. Probably I've slid off.
Okay, so everybody's just kind of going to bed or drinking in the sitting room.
I'm having a few drinks, and then I'm going to curl up on Adam's bed with him.
If Hoovers were invented in this time, Hawkins would be there first thing in the morning, hoovering around my head on the floor. That would be the scene. He's got
a little brush and a tiny dustpan. It's just
exactly.
Yeah, I think like Henry might sort of, after having had a couple of drinks and written down what he could, he might end up sort of going outside. I'm presuming there's like an enclosed garden or a courtyard or something off the main street, and just sort of standing outside for a bit and sort of musing on what had happened, and probably staring up at the full moon, and just wondering about things.
Can you make a vigilance roll, Steve?
Walked into that one, didn't I? Vigilance, yes, that's going to be 8 dice. One success.
Okay, so where you are is a courtyard out the back of the house. It's sort of hedged in, literally. And you know that there are also sort of iron bars. So the hedge has been placed kind of around and in front of the iron railings. And you hear a rustling in a bit of the hedgerow.
Wearily, I will turn to look at it, to stare where the noise is coming from.
The rustling increases in vigor, and is certainly something that is larger than, say, a bird that might be in this hedgerow.
Okay. I'm kind of done by this point, I think. So I can hear you. come out.
You hear a
now. Does that sound animally?
yes.
Okay. Sudden sort of sting of bravery now failing a bit. I wonder if I still have my revolver with me.
I don't see why you wouldn't. You would have taken it with you, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Into the tunnels.
I certainly had it, yes. So unless I've lost it.
I suppose it depends if when you bathed, did you get dressed again and put everything back on? I'm happy that you might have done, considering your current...
Just roll the dice. The good old
yeah,
dice.
that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
1 to 3, I have it. 4 to 6, I don't. It's a 3, I have it. I will... yeah, I'll sort of cock the pistol. I don't know how guns work. It's a revolver. I'll ready it. There we go.
Yep. Another growl, lower this time. You feel time shortening.
Oh, fuck it. I'll go back inside.
Just at the very moment, just like,
I'll try and
Does
find
he
a window.
make it back inside?
Well,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm confident. Like it's quite a small courtyard, so you basically open the door, and go back in.
if there's a
If that's
window,
what
I
you
will
want to
be
do.
peering through it.
I really want a clip of that scene. That's so funny. Draws gun, approaches opponent.
Dogs are scary. Well, they can be.
Yeah. Okay. You can get to a window in say 5 seconds.
Okay.
And you see a dark figure basically scramble out of the top of the hedge and over the other side.
Okay.
Humanoid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Climbing as a human would, or
Well, there's kind of a leap out of the hedge initially that doesn't look quite right.
Okay. I think I'll have another drink.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything before bed? No. Inga, is Constance still sort of staying with Gladys in the chapel, or have you reverted to a proper bedroom for Constance?
I guess it's been a little while, so I think if there's like bedrooms close to the chapel, we'll have probably like had as so Gladys has got like a bed made up and stuff as well. So she's not just like, you know, on a cot on the floor or something in the chapel all the time. She I think it seems she's staying with us for a little while now. So I think we'll be back in rooms. But yeah, if there's rooms closer to the chapel, we'll be in those.
Okay. That's fine. Do you pop in and say hi to her before bed?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not like directly before bed, probably more like going for a wash, you know, kind of heading up to the rooms and things, just sort of, or maybe just after the wash rather than just before, given smells and such. And yeah, just to briefly kind of explain that we're back, but there might be a bit of noise downstairs.
When she sees you, she goes, "Ah, sister. Look, opens the box, and the Spertus is looking even more anemic than it was before. Almost like, and this the way that I'm going to describe this is going to sound like, could set off all kinds of conspiracy theories, but almost like it's like like when a caterpillar is almost like going chrysalis-y. It's like that kind of. I'm not saying it's going into a second or third state. It's just that kind of paler color, and again, it's kind of curled, not really moving very much. And she says, "I think it's working."
It's excellent. You've been doing very good work, Gladys. This is wonderful. Yes, excellent.
My
How are you feeling?
yes, my fingers and thumbs are a little calloused from all the knitting, but other than that, yes. This reminds me. Could you give these to Mr. Huxley? And she gets out a very nicely crafted pair of gloves. And says, he said that he has big hands and struggles to find gloves that fit him. So I've made these slightly larger than a standard size. I hope they'll suffice.
Oh no, I'm sure he'll be absolutely thrilled. Well, it's incredibly thoughtful, Gladys. No, of course, yes, of course. Well, don't you want to give them to him yourself?
No, please. I don't need I don't need credit for these acts. It's a good thing to do.
Well, I think he's already started downstairs. I'll give them to him in the morning, before we head out for the next whatever tomorrow brings. But yes, that was incredibly thoughtful, Gladys. Thank you. Of course, I'll pass them on. Yes, very fiddly work as well, gloves. It's very, very well done. Very well done.
They are nicely crafted as well. She has done a very good job on them. There's obviously quite a lot of time and care gone into making them.
So cute.
So bedtime and morning comes around. Very cold after a very clear night. Hooks and the sailors are passed out in the sitting room. And Hawkins is up early. There's the smell of bacon when you all wake up.
Quite a lot of bacon splattered over us last night, didn't we? Oh dear.
Hair of the dog,
Oh, no.
So many double meanings.
Might have the eggs rather than the bacon this morning.
Hux is an older man. I think he probably won't wake up from his stupor for a while. But someone will eventually have to wake him as they move around him in the living room, I'm sure.
The sailors are equally, like when anybody comes downstairs, that there are numerous snores of different sort of timbres going on. And Higgins is sort of on a chair like this, drooling, and a bottle sort of tucked under this arm. Yeah.
I might suggest that we take our should we take our breakfast in the library room? Is it just a library, or is it like a study room that's just got books? I can't remember if it's actually like technically well, we'll take our breakfast. Should we take our breakfast in the library? Sorry, I'm just getting way too stuck on insignificant detail there. So we're all kind of away from the sailors, and we've got a bit more privacy and less snoring to serenade us.
Are you planning on waking Hooks for this as well, or are you leaving him to sleep it off?
I think I might.
I'll let him sleep it off unless anyone unless anyone else wants to wake him up.
I was gonna wake him up with cup of tea in hand and probably a hot, smelly bacon sarnie in the other.
That will go down well. There will still be quite a bit of moaning, but no, I'll just nod yeah, and then appreciate tea and sarnie, and then come to follow you after a few minutes.
Good.
I suppose we're going to have to figure out. I'm surprised we haven't had knocks on the door yet already from that reporter, but we're going to need to do something. And we still need to. I don't know. I think there's some explaining you need to do, be about what you meant about this fairy helping with us getting away yesterday.
Yeah, that was definitely the same stuff that I saw the other night when I was somewhere. I say looking at presumably Mosling Force Mark is still here.
Look, none of you seemed willing to believe that this fairy intended anything except harm, right?
I was earlier. Then it did the weird thing to me, and I felt wasn't very fun.
When you cornered it in someone else's bedroom,
The door
in the
was
dark.
open. Okay, fair point.
I think this thing has been trying to corner Mosling, has it not? I think it's quite an unfair accusation to poor Hux here, given the nature of what's been happening.
I think it has, but I don't think it knows that it's not supposed to. It's like a kid.
It seems like Mosling has told this thing quite clearly that it's not supposed to be doing this and doesn't want it.
Yeah, but to be fair, I see what you mean, B. Like, you can't say that to a kid, can you?
No. Especially
You
not a kid
certainly
with magic
can.
powers.
Children need discipline. You need to tell children no all the time. Of course you do.
Okay, yeah, a little kid. They just cry. Tell those pixies that. Same thing, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't work with them.
And look at the harm they caused.
Yeah, but you must admit we fixed it without killing them all, Constance.
Well, we managed to bring poor Dan back. I'm not sure I'd quite call that fixing the entire situation. We fixed that part of it at least.
And we got them to promise they wouldn't do it again.
And either way, B's idea saved our asses last night. I wouldn't have wanted to be, dealing with that crowd otherwise.
Yes, that would have been a real problem.
You have to admit, proof that I can talk to it, me, and it'll help. Like, that's got to be an indication that it's not a wild animal, right?
I have to ask, what did you say to it?
I said that we were going to do something dangerous and that no promises, but maybe Mosling would be more willing to talk to it if it helped us.
Take it Mosling didn't agree to this. I'll look to Mosling.
Of course not.
I think his eyes are probably quite wide at this point.
Well, we have to admit it did help us.
Yeah, but what does it really want? I mean, I saw some weird dreams about it being obsessed with you. That was like, I don't know. I wouldn't exactly describe it all as, wholesome.
And which is it? Is it a thing that can be reasoned with and dealt with and help out with whatever it is that it did for us yesterday? Or is it some childlike creature that's not in control and doesn't understand right from wrong? You can't have it both ways, B.
Of course you can. Children can be reasoned with, but they don't know what's right and wrong, not until someone sits them down and tells them. You don't wake up knowing the right thing to do.
Well, then if you can talk to it, why don't you tell this thing that it's wrong and he needs to leave poor Mosling alone?
Well, I could try.
I don't think it'll work.
I don't think it'll work either.
Constance's point taken. If you can't reason it out of that, then maybe it ain't something to be reasoned with.
But at least we can try.
Hmm.
The thing that seems to have taken an interest in me is, well, it was here again last night.
No, that dog. Or thing.
Yes.
Here at the
Yeah.
house.
You're
It
right.
was in the courtyard. I was going to confront it, but then I thought better of it.
Should have come got us. And would have pummeled the thing.
You only got one stick of dynamite, didn't you?
Ah, there were 4 of us having a drink in there. Would have been easy.
Yeah, 3 of them couldn't see it, Hux.
Ah.
What happened?
Well, I ran off again. It was in the bushes in the hedge. I heard it growl. There was no. It didn't try to communicate. I didn't
You're
want to push
right.
my
It
luck.
didn't attack.
It didn't attack. No.
Seems like it's had ample chances to. The odd thing is there was no one with you then. Not like the other times when you were in public. Maybe it didn't want to attack because you were with other people, but if it just wanted to get you, surely it would have taken you then.
Also worth noting, Steve, I can't remember how much information you found out about these things, but like most of the times that you have seen what you think this thing is, it's been a human figure.
Okay, right. And this was less human this time.
Yeah, you assume so from the sounds.
Yes. Okay. I don't think I've discovered much yet.
Obviously, we as players are aware of the the werewolf tropes, but I can't remember if you found out anything about full moons and that kind of stuff.
I think we got the silver needed for weapons and the name werewolf. I think that was it so far. All right. Well, there's something else we're going to have to deal with there as well, then I suppose. But we still have to deal with this fairy, and that we still need to deal with the almost inevitable reporter showing up.
Are you sure that we don't want there just to be another sea monster casualty around this time? Another reporter-shaped one.
Hux.
No one would miss him. Bastard, anyway.
Be that as it may, that's...
Yeah, fine.
Hux.
Murder bad.
Look,
I've never actually murdered anyone before, just to clarify. It's just this guy's a real asshole.
The fact that you have to clarify that doesn't make it sound like it's true, Hux.
Well, I helped some people out who might have done, but it wasn't me.
Wow. Sudden backstory.
You all know I've been in prison, even though I've been innocent every time.
Oh, now I want to spin off prequel series.
I'm going to pour Hux another cup of tea to help him sober up.
Yeah, I am a little bit drunk still. Did anyone notice?
So, someone needs to talk to Bradley before he comes round and complains at us about us not obviously knowing what that loud noise was.
Looking at Wassling Force Mark.
But, well, yeah.
Can
Jonny,
we just deny any knowledge of this? Do we if we haven't been spotted anywhere near this one, do we think that's possible?
Surely it's almost more suspicious that we're involved in everything.
Jonny, have the papers arrived this morning yet?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Do you want to flick through them?
Yes. See what the headlines are.
Are you just going front page on these?
Certainly to start with. Yeah. I guess I'm looking for sort of any obvious explosion in London, you know, building collapsed into sewer, that sort of thing. Bits of human found washed up on side of Thames.
Fishy smell, whole east side.
Yeah, so a couple of the papers have the front page of another tremor along the Thames. Is it linked to the first one? That kind of thing. Because there's no explanation for this one, at least presently. You know, as much as the general locale of the thing is obvious, you know, it could be within a mile. So nobody yet has nailed down a specific thing. So it's just kind of, as far as they're concerned, it's almost like maybe a mini earthquake or something along those lines. At least that's what the reporting's going with at the moment. Some other unrelated headlines on the front pages. Are you digging into the papers further?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as this sort of conversation goes on and breakfast is continuing, yes, I'll be sort of flicking through.
Okay, can you make a learning roll for me, please?
Sure. Learning logic +3 skill, which again is 8 dice. Yes, this week I'm rolling okay. 2 successes from that.
I thought you were going to say none again. Okay. One of the papers has reported on a believed break-in and robbery in a quite nice part of town. Single female occupant, unnamed in the paper.
Is the quite nice part of town where
Rachel Brown lives? Yeah.
Okay.
So presumably she has gone and reported this.
I will slide that paper and tap on it towards, I guess, B.
No details on what was taken, or like, you know, if it was sort of ransacked or anything like that. But you do notice that the article is written by a Mr. A. Bradley.
Oops.
How is he? Why would he be covering that?
Oh, you got 2 successes, didn't you? I'll give you something else. There is in the let's see, did it exist then? Okay, in the Telegraph, there is an opinion piece written by a Mark Copperfield MP about how there should be further restrictions on the press and what they are allowed to publish. And the name rings a bell with you as the MP who had the smear piece written about him by Albert Bradley.
Yes.
So perhaps jogs your memory as you're sort of looking at that.
Yes, my main concern here is how Bradley. Why is he writing about this particular? Is it coincidence, or does he know that we've been
I'm less worried about him in this instance in some ways. It was you left no other trace be other than taking these photographs and that document.
None that I know of.
If she's involved in something malicious, I'm surprised that she's reported this at all. I don't. Maybe this speaks to her innocence that it's been reported, or maybe Bradley is less oblivious than we think he is.
Well, we have no indication she's involved in everything illegal. Malicious and illegal can be very different, right? You know, handling a spiritus and all that. It's nothing to do with the law.
Well, precisely. But even so, why would you want to draw attention to this if there's, the only thing she can point to that's missing is something that's private? I don't.
I see what you mean. Maybe it's just fear for other break-ins, or I don't know. Not like anyone's going to track down anything she's done by reporting it, is there?
Is it of note enough as well to be reported in the papers in this way? This is London. There's break-ins all the time. There's lots of. I just don't think it's a particular coincidence that Mr. Bradley keeps sniffing around these things where Vaesen are involved one way or another. Same with that. I don't think it's a coincidence that we end up coming across these things. But I don't know why.
I wonder if they know each other.
Yes, I'm worried that there might be some sort of connection there. Although perhaps there's something to the benefit, though. Mr. Bradley seems to want us to answer for or explain or understand or investigate things that he's writing about. What if maybe if he does come knocking on the door, maybe he'll be expecting us to go and speak with Miss Brown.
Oof, that would be something of a dangerous gamble to play. Admittedly, if we would be walking a tightrope there, I think.
In my book, he's the dodgy sort who wants to get anything he can. We should give him as little as possible. I don't think we should have talked to him at all in the first place, but we're where we are.
What about his assistant?
Do we know that Moslin had gone off to... Oh, he didn't actually... Did he meet up with him in the end? Or I know he went to a pub where...
Yeah, so he
chat, and then he spoke to someone else's assistant. Right.
He started to kind of follow him, and then when he to see if he was going to a bar so that he could engineer a conversation. But when he realized he was going home, he just kind of turned off from him.
It would be useful to get the inside track if we could, but again, with our luck, well, there is a strong danger that trying to chat to... Sorry, what was his assistant's name again?
Ben.
Yeah, Ben something.
Did you ever get a surname?
Don't think so.
Marvelous.
For some reason, I thought it was Higgins, and then I got confused when he brought up Sailor Higgins.
I'm not sure. I think I've only got Ben in my notes.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, I've only got Ben in my notes, so
that's it. Then his name's just Ben.
I assure you, it's Ben Higgins.
It is now. No, that would be too confusing.
Amazing. Yes, perhaps. Well, Bradley does seem to be somewhat oblivious towards his his assistant,
Well,
so
maybe.
perhaps there's.
Well, maybe he won't come knocking anyway. I thought he might, but given the news with the the explosion and everything. But if he hasn't even written about this and he's on some other path, it's maybe a bit coincidental that it's something else that we've been involved with. But it doesn't indicate that he'd be coming around to Rose House.
I agree.
Today necessarily. So maybe it's not such not such an immediate concern.
Yeah, I agree. Leave him out as much as we can. Ignore him. Hopefully, he'll just go away. Worst case, we have to deal with him when he shows up. But...
So I guess we should take stock of where we stand. At least the C70 is dealt with. I can write up some notes of that. We can combine our information. I sadly didn't.
Yes, no, yes, I suppose you may not have seen, but the hypnotic effect, it wasn't the sound after all. It was an auditory. It was a visible sort of trigger. So we should certainly make sure we capture that. And
that's what got the captain. We all looked except
Yes.
Constance. She saved the rest of us, to be honest, but couldn't save him as well.
But the firecrackers, Miss Bonneville, that was an excellent idea as well. That was what I was able to use to snap everybody out of it. So that was very well considered.
Well, I'm glad they worked. It was simply a guess.
So am I. I don't know what I'd have done otherwise. It was awful. Yes, we can certainly finish putting together those notes today. But we've also got to deal with this. If this thing's coming for you, it's come right up to Rose House. That's just it seems to be closing in some way. That needs to be dealt with as well.
I think that's got to be our number one priority at this point. Whatever it is hunting you, you might be going missing any night at this rate.
Well,
cheers.
Well, let's stop that happening, shall we, Bonneville?
Well, I don't mean to dismiss your position either, Mr. Bonneville, but I mean, coming up to Rose House is one thing. Being in the house and in the bedrooms and wherever else it's been scampering about the place, and if this fairy did manage to conceal us or trick the eyes of the crowds of people who are looking down on the Thames, like that's powerful and dangerous. That concerns me much more.
You're right, that is a concern as well.
The bloody thing could, sorry, excuse me, this thing could be listening into us right now.
Oh, and before those sailors go, we need to maybe we can give something for his mother, captain's mother, or something for them to hand over at least. Just thinking they might be packing up now and leaving quiet like.
Yes, we need to do something.
Presumably at this point we've got a vague idea of kind of, I don't know if it's quite the funds of the society is what I'm going for, but what we have as resources available. Like it would be nice to give a token of something meaningful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. You could speak to Hawkins about that.
I'll go speak to Hawkins about that while this conversation continues.
Weapon service sort of payout kind of thing, yeah.
I do worry that if I don't know, can someone simply go missing on the Thames and not cause an investigation? What do we do if and when he's reported missing?
He lost his boat. The other members of his crew were with us and saw what happened. I suppose it's, well, you tell me, Miss Bonneville. I wouldn't imagine it's too unusual for people who lose their livelihoods to sort of disappear, especially sailoring types. But
it depends on.
I imagine his mother will certainly be worried. Well, the others said they were going to tell her, didn't they? So I suppose she'll have some knowledge of that he's gone.
Yes, my concern really is I guess sailors disappearing is one thing. Sailors disappearing overnight is quite another. If people had seen him recently and can pinpoint the time that he disappeared, that could, well, that is.
Well, I suppose we ought to we need to confirm with the others what exactly it is that they're going to say. But if anyone does start investigating, and I imagine that his crew will be exactly the kind of people that will be asked about something like this, and so whatever it is that they are planning to see is the answer that they will give. Presumably something to the effect of that there was an accident. He tried to gather a crew for another boating job, and something went wrong, and he drowned, or whatever it is that they have to say, and that'll do that.
You could say they went into the sewers to find that rubbish heap, the one that they knocked into the sewers, and I don't know, hit a miasma or something. You get those in the sewers, right?
Pockets of gas.
Yeah,
I suppose so. It's better than nothing, I guess. But it upsets me that more deception is required. Having other people lie on your behalf is uncomfortable, but perhaps it's unavoidable in this situation.
Oh, what do you want to go to his mum and say? Oh, what a sea monster ate your son. Sorry, not exactly very doable. Is it? It's the best we've got, Bonneville.
And the fact of the matter is that there's no real connection between him and us. The people who will be asked will be his crew. That if anyone is investigating anything, we can't help the fact that they'll be approached for that. Whatever they see fit is what they will do and what they will say.
So as long as nobody puts 2 and 2 together for recent purchases of dynamite,
I don't think he's going to admit to selling any dynamite there anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
Fingers crossed.
And what of this fairy then?
Well, I think not on his own, just in case it is dangerous. But I think we need to get Mosling to sit down and talk to it. Tell it to go away. That's fine. But shouting at it in the middle of a corridor, that's not going to do anything. It's going to make it try harder.
Did it ever talk back to you, B?
No.
So we don't even know it can talk.
It can snore.
I think this is all a bit of a moot point, given how poor Mosling looks right now, and I think the likelihood of him wanting to speak with this is incredibly slim, if not just outright impossible. So I think we ought to have something planned other than that. I think really approaching it is quite dangerous. Well, Huxley, this thing attacked you when you. What's to say it won't do the same thing to us? We need to protect ourselves.
I don't think it's more dangerous than the sea serpent we just encountered.
The sea serpent wasn't here creeping up on us in our bedrooms in the night. We went and put ourselves in danger in that situation. That's a very different matter.
I think if this fairy meant us any harm, it had done a lot more than just bamboozling Hux as it ran out the door that one time.
We don't know what it's done. It could have done anything to us, and we wouldn't know if we've been affected by its mystical powers, and it's incredibly dangerous. We can't trust anything.
I don't think this fairy means any harm, but I don't think that means it's harmless. They're a very long way apart.
I'm not sure how much difference it makes. If it's going to be harmful, whether it's intended or not, we need to address that problem. End of story.
I suppose the difference being if it doesn't intend harm, that's when you can talk.
Well, not if it's going to confuse us or enact powers on us, because it doesn't understand and it doesn't intend harm. It doesn't stop it being harmful. It's a very dangerous position to be in. And frankly, if Mosling doesn't want to speak to the thing, I'm certainly not going to force him.
Well,
so I don't know what you propose to do if that's not going to happen.
maybe B, since it seems to listen to you in some form, you could at least start by explaining to it that if it does try and do that to us, we're not going to talk to it. That might help persuade Mosling a wee bit as well.
I think we
Do
should
that.
acknowledge that it did help us, that it saved us. I think
Exactly.
we should at least thank it for what it did. We do need to. Communication is key. That is becoming clear to me now. We can't approach everything with. We live in a wide world. I don't know that my experience last night was, well, I don't know how to describe it, but the world seems larger to me now. I think we need to broaden our minds a little. I think that's why we're here. I think that's why we can see the things we can see. I think that's why we have a responsibility. And I don't think
to protect the
and
world
I
from
don't
creatures.
think I don't think we can approach every situation with the same gung-ho confidence that the captain died. We are responsible for that. We are responsible for that. Someone is dead because of us.
I understand that, Mr. Bonneville. But the captain knew what he was doing, and he knew that thing needed to be
The
dealt
captain
with. He understood
died
the danger
because
of it.
our mistakes. We need to be better.
I'm all for doing anything we can do to protect more people and to not lose people in the way that we deal with these things, but we can't not deal with them because we're afraid of that. Otherwise,
think
they'll only do more harm.
I think Hux finds this conversation actively too uncomfortable and steps and leaves for a minute.
That's fair.
Or
Well, I'm with
maybe
you,
we
B.
should
I
also
think- I
start
think-
thinking about finding out what one of your godly sisters is doing hanging around one of the owners of the Spiritus.
Well, we already know I'm going to write back today, send a letter off, and we will go and visit the church. Yes, there's another thing that we need to look at and to deal with, but it's quite a blatant deflection.
That's fair.
I will walk back in the door and go, hang on a second, B. You said you talked to it. Where did you find it? Took me ages to find the thing. And even then, it wasn't exactly talking. It was sneaking about.
I'm going to look at Constance, and I'm going to look at Henry, and then I'm going to look at Hux. And then I'm going to stand up and walk out the room and wait for Hux to follow me.
I will have got the hint and followed you.
What do you do if I stand up as well?
Given what you've just said, if you stand up, I'll keep walking.
Constance sits in the room furiously or just storms after us now. Or perhaps does a stealth
Constance is not going anywhere. No, just.
roll. I love the idea of Constance rolling a stealth roll to sneak after us, then to like, spray holy water all over this place that we go and investigate.
Yeah, I think Constance will angry grab some books, and I think Constance knows it's futile because she's looked at these books for things about fairies a million times now and thinks she's found, like, she knows she's found the ritual. It just didn't work. She tried the non-violent path and it didn't work, but she's gonna just she's just gonna grab another book and just I mean, it's almost like pretending to
Mhm.
find something else now at this point, and it's
Just
a bit
reading over the
distracted.
same paragraph again and again.
Mhm.
Before I leave the room, I also take an egg sandwich with me. And then, yeah, I will show Henry and Hux where the cupboard is.
So it's living in there?
Mm-hmm.
The door is slightly ajar.
I knock on the door and put the egg sandwich in front.
There's no response of any kind.
It might be out.
Slightly
Gone shopping.
unnerving concept there, B.
I think it may have been living up here before we opened this corridor. I think that might be what I saw when Hawkins opened the door. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I remember
Which
that.
probably means it didn't come here for Mosling. It was just here.
Well, that's a good sign.
Which means, if anything, we bothered it. Which makes it extra harsh to just kick it out, you know?
And even more strange that it's so obsessed with him. It must be something about him, not, it's not followed him from some past. It wants him for some reason now. Like he's just, I don't know, delicious to fairies or something.
Well, it
That's
can't
a
be
weird way
his
of putting it.
whimsical and childish nature.
I've told you about that dream I saw what it gave me. Dancing with him and having fun with him and having picnics with all sorts of weird, happy stuff. It was just like obsessed with him.
Yeah, I can see why that would be disturbing.
Yeah. But if it was here before him, doubly weird.
Yes, I'm not sure how we can approach this without movement on at least one side.
But it's got to be said, it was real handy last night. So if it is in the house already, it was there already, as you say, and we can pacify it somehow. Maybe persuade it to help us out.
I would draw caution about relying on that sort of, striking deals with entities is perhaps something we don't want to do too often. But it has to be said that yes, it saved our skin.
There are some Vaesen I've met that you can rely on the word of forever.
Is that a story you wish to tell, or
not now?
You tease.
But I don't know if these fairies are going to be one of them or not.
Well, perhaps we can do some more research, but I do wonder how limited the library in this place is. I think, we have a duty to learn and discover, and I think we only do that through, communication is easier. I really don't desire to approach every situation with sticks of dynamite.
Yeah, I agree. So is the egg sandwich for that then?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's part of a thank you, I suppose. Although I think sounds like Mosling Forcemark is the main part of the thank you.
I don't even know if it eats eggs.
I don't think you can put Mosling Forcemark on a plate, so...
Well, what now? Shall we return to the library? I don't know. I mean, the Spiritus seems to be under control, at least.
I suppose so, from what Constance said. Oh, in my book, I mean, this varies important, but it's almost for Gale to decide, to be honest. At this point, I want to sit down with you, Bonneville, and figure out a plan of action for this monster hunting you. Maybe a trap or something. This can't go on.
I can set some snares and traps up in the back garden. As long as I let Hawkins and Adam know about it before I do it, it should be safe enough, but it should stop anyone from jumping over the fence.
Maybe we want it to jump over the fence. That's how we can get it next time.
Well, we can get it to jump over the fence and then get itself trapped, hopefully.
Well, I guess with you by my side, I'm willing to act as bait, see whether it makes another appearance.
I don't think you got much choice about that. Seems like it's going to keep appearing around you anyway.
That does seem to be true, yes.
While... Oh, what are the rules for the weapons corridor? Is it...
You can take a weapon without it costing you a resource, basically.
Can I...
for an adventure, you can have a weapon.
Hand Henry a silver-looking dagger that might or might not be actual silver, because I'm not sure how I would know, but...
I was going to say, I was also thinking of looking in the weapons corridor and seeing if there's one of just the old silver knives from a cutlery set, because they'll be silver. That would do the job.
So it's during the preparation phase, each level allows the player characters to bring a melee weapon from availability level 1 without using resources. Is the weapons corridor.
Can a silver knife be? I mean, it seems cutlery. That seems like it would be normal, doesn't it?
I mean, Victorian era, if you wanted...
Yeah, that would just be the kitchen, wouldn't it?
Just steal a fork from the kitchen.
I mean, I was thinking a knife's better than a fork. You know,
Oh,
the biggest sort of carving, but it's silver. Yeah, I know you don't really get
carving
silver
knives will still be steel, won't they?
Yeah, just the biggest butter knife I can find.
This scene is going to be so climactic.
Just get a really sharp-looking spoon.
Go for the eyes.
Yeah, I think you could get like a kitchen knife, right? Like a silver.
Sounds good.
Like a steak knife, you know, like that would
Yeah.
probably be sharp and silver.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
I will reassuringly show Henry my silver knife. It's all going to be all right now.
Well, you're probably wielding it a little bit more confidently than Henry is.
Inga, do you want to make a learning roll? Since you are...
I mean, I can do, but I'm equally happy to not, because I'm not sure how much she's actually really taking things in, so much as angrily flipping through books and sort of saying to Mosling, who I assume is still in the library with me, it's ridiculous. Like, don't worry, he's not does nothing. There won't be anything no one will force you to do anything you don't want to do, Mosling, and stuff. So yeah, like I'm happy to not make a roll if, like, I'm not sure how much she's properly even.
But I still think if you
stuff
spotted
in.
something, you would probably still... I'm happy for you to make a roll
all right.
if you want.
Remember your condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You've still
yeah.
got
So
one,
for,
haven't you?
yeah, I've still got one condition, so that takes one of those off. Okay, so that's just.
And you'd be angry as well, so your ranting is sort of, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's angry that I've still got tick. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, no successes.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That works.
I was gonna go have a quiet moment in my room at some point when there's a second, and remembering, well, it brought up some more memories what I said earlier to those folks. So I will get out the will.
Just quickly, are you all leaving that area where you were at the same time and heading somewhere else. So, for example, Hooks is going to his room. B and Henry, are you heading back to the library or to your rooms, or what?
I was probably going to head straight out to start trapping up the garden.
Okay.
I'll probably go back to the library.
Okay, so Henry and Hooks. So B, you've gone off in the opposite direction to those two to go to the back. You two have to go back through sort of the entrance hall and then up the main staircase.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're sort of about to get into that entrance hall, you hear a knock at the door. And you hear Hawkins's footsteps going from the kitchen towards the door. And then you hear running footsteps along the landing and coming down the stairs. And you round the corner and you see Gladys tearing towards the front door.
Run after her immediately.
Okay. The door swings open.
Mm-hmm.
Gladys pulls the door open before you can get to her. And Lady Spence stands there. And Gladys throws herself at Lady Spence and wraps her arms around her. And Lady Spence kind of picks her up and spins her round and then puts her down, and they stand smiling at each other.
I will immediately stop and make it look like I was running to another room.
Oh, breakfast.
And then come back out and wave.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Huxley. Mr. Bonneville. And you must be Hawkins? Hawkins bows and turns round and walks back to the kitchen.
Didn't know you were coming.
Well,
I think
seemed...
Did we? I think we...
I probably didn't.
Yeah.
I think you knew she was, but you weren't 100% sure when. It seemed matters here demanded my attention.
Well, it's very good to see you.
And you. We had a little trouble, but it's been fixed now. They're like any children. They're trying to push the boundaries, see how far they're allowed to go.
Must be fun.
Yes. It's like having 50 mildly demonic children. Anyway, everything's fine.
Well, we might have need of your expertise here, in fact.
Yeah, we got a fairy in the house. Similar sort of problems. A bit more specific in what it wants, I think.
Oh.
Anyway, come have a cuppa.
Yes, of course. Is Sister Constance, B, Mr. Muslim Forcemark, are they well?
I'll go get them from the library.
Ah, good. Gladys, I've had Reverend Williams do something with the house. Henry, you'd have heard. And Gladys smiles, but they continue on. And are you sort of taking them anywhere, or are you just staying? I suppose Hux has said he's grabbing the others.
I guess we'll go to the there's a sort of study or a sort of day room or something. I forget what the general term was for.
Yeah, you've got sort of a parlor, which is where you were first introduced to the society, and you also have the downstairs sitting room, which, as far as you're aware, the sailors are still in at present.
Yeah, let's not go in there. Let's.
Going to ask if they might have made their way out by it now or not, but I guess they're sleeping it off.
Oh dear.
Drool, broken bottles.
Yeah, we're going to have to start getting plans for segregating areas of the house so we can have different parties.
I think we're going to have to raise
leaving at different times.
I think we're going to have to raise Hawkins' wage at this rate too.
Yeah. Yes, well, let's pick a room that's sort of separate and secluded from any potential sailor interruptions. And
yeah. So the parlor probably makes sense.
As I come back grabbing folks, I'll tell Constance and what's enforcement actor there and bring you through. As I get back into the parlor, presumably like, oh, B's where'd B go? Does anyone know?
Do I know?
Did you tell us where you were going?
I mentioned that I was planning on trapping up the garden.
Yeah, okay.
You may not realize I meant right now, but
I'll probably assume to look outside next, given I haven't found you anywhere else. So I'll just wander around outside. Hopefully not stumble into a trap and then find you.
I will say, if you come to get us from the library, I will have given you the gloves at that point, Hux, and
okay.
said, "Oh, we got caught up in the other discussion." But here, Gladys made these. You mentioned to her apparently that you struggled to find well-fitting gloves, so she made you some a little larger than normal. And well, she didn't want to make a big fuss, so she asked me to give them to you. But,
lovely.
Yes.
Wow, that's unexpected. I'll have to thank her. Yeah, it is tough. Nice. These are terrified to wreck these. Very nice. Jonny, just a little clarification. I did ask for gloves in character because obviously I didn't, right? Good. Okay. It's not just a weird thing where I have never shown any interest in gloves and she's just gone, he really wanted gloves.
I think it was when Hux was at the hospital and you weren't here.
Oh, I see. That would explain why I, as a player, don't know that I want a thing. Got it. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable because she didn't want to present them to me, but I'm just going to be wearing them and looking like I'm admiring them when I go back into the other room. Just like, ooh, very nice, rather than thanking her directly.
Perfect. She doesn't notice because she's rather distracted by the present company. But yeah, you think she will? Do you keep sort of doing that thing like kids do when they've got a new like pair of shoes where they sort of put their feet up on the table?
I mean, honestly, Hux doesn't actually get nice things very often, other than when he's just got stuff he's taken that isn't really his from the Rose House. So this is kind of actually novel. So he probably genuinely is quite happy about it.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see you all.
It's lovely to see you, Lady Spence.
I've had Reverend Williams. You remember Sister Constance? Well, I've had him sanctify sections of my home in the hopes that you would all agree to Gladys being under my care. Sorry, I do hope you're all well. I didn't mean to jump ahead of niceties.
No, not at all. No, I think I think it's a wonderful idea, but is the Reverend? I mean, I think we explained before that obviously it's very much about the life devoted to faith. Is Reverend Williams able to guide, and is this part of the arrangement? I understand you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, she will be assisting in the Sunday school, as well as general ministry around the village with the Reverend. If that's all right with you, of course, Gladys. But yes, it's all been arranged. There'll be barely a minute spare in her day.
Yes, I do think the village could do with a little more activity, a little more direction in these matters. The Reverend William's a very nice man, of course, but it didn't seem that there was a lot of. No. I think that'd be wonderful. Gladys, did you? Well, I mean, yes. How do you feel about this?
She's basically grinning from ear to ear and just staring at Esme. Yes, I very much would like to to go back, continuing my service to the Lord, of course, Sister Constance.
How long ago did this arrangement occur to you?
Are you asking Esme?
Both of them.
Well, there were potential plans for Gladys to stay with me if the problem could be dealt with.
I hope you understand it is an ongoing. It's not a. There's.
Yes,
I don't think, I'm not sure
yes.
there'll ever be a point of time. Yes, good.
No, of course. But yes, that I would prefer for her to be a problem under my roof than under someone else's.
Sounds perfect.
She says
You're
with
both
a
happy.
slight
It's
smile.
not a problem at all. But
I mean,
of course, I want you to be be where you feel you can do the most fulfilling work.
We have
There's
had
obviously opportunity here.
we have had our hands full recently.
Well, exactly. To be perfectly honest, I think you'd be much safer elsewhere than here. There's so much going on. And London, too. There's no host of stuff around here.
Perhaps I can assist with keeping the pixies in order as well. I'm sure another pair of hands with that wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah, be careful with them.
Yes, do be careful. Obviously you understand firsthand the dangers of dealing with these sorts of creatures. So that do bear that in mind and remember what will keep you true.
Don't worry, Sister Constance, and I shall write to you, if I may.
Oh yes, of course, and I will write back as well. And of course, I'd love to come and visit if we're welcome, and be able to help where I can, and just generally check in, and yes, of course.
At the
As I
first
said,
sign of trouble, you must contact us immediately. Of course, we will always do whatever we can to help if needs be.
And as I said,
if we
any
have
of you are
news-
welcome anytime in my home. If you need to be in my neck of the woods for work, shall we call it, then you are always welcome to use my home as a base of operations.
Thank you. Obviously, as we get more news about, understanding exactly how this thing came to you, Gladys. Yes, no, of course, we'll write. We'll keep in touch and come to visit, of course.
It's settled then. Well, I do at least intend to spend the day here. Perhaps I'll go for a stroll around, but I'll be back later. Should I take you all for dinner?
Sounds lovely.
Right, well, I'll get out of your hair and Gladys, pack anything that you have ready for tomorrow, I suppose. Right. Good day, everyone. And Esme just gets up and walks off unless anybody says anything, lets herself out.
Gosh, it feels so soon. I feel like we barely had time to get started, really, but you have made very, very good progress. So
I'll write to you, Sister Constance, and as soon as I get a reply, I shall write back.
Can I try and catch up with Lady Spence out the door quickly? Just
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch your other conversation if you were still ongoing.
Mr. Huxley.
Oh, I don't know how well you understood, but I thought I should just mention it. It's probably better now than it was, but this Spiritus has some control over her. We think she's the third. I don't know how well you know, as I say, but it might be written in letters or something. But yeah, we think she's the third, which means worse than we feared before. And she has exhibited some worrying things, I think, like you know, kind of flying in the air in an intimidating way. I'm kind of looking around now to make sure no one's looking. But like, it was pretty unsettling. I don't think anything came of it, but yeah, you know, this
Yes.
supernatural creature still has some hold over you. Best be careful.
Well, I would imagine that other than you lovely folks, I'm probably one of the more experienced in these matters, and I'll certainly look out for signs of any strange happenings. But
Yeah,
I think with the guidance of Sister Constance and the help of Reverend Williams, we can keep a good hold on it.
yeah, I think you're right. Should probably be better there than here, to be honest. I'm not doubting you. It's just a warning. Be cautious and all that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Right, I'm going to try and find somewhere that's not coated in smog to spend the day.
I'll recommend a park tour.
Thank you. And I'll see you tonight for dinner.
Wander back.
Back at the house, after Lady Spence has left, Gladys, is this why
yes,
you didn't
me?
want to go into the nunnery?
Yes? Well, that and I didn't want to live in a nunnery.
It's understandable.
Oh no.
Has John frozen again?
In about
so.
to speak position.
Oh no!
I know I was on tenterhooks.
Just
Now I know what
choosing-
it's like. Now I know what
choosing
it's
words
like.
carefully.
Mhm.
Oh.
Oh.
Hey,
You're back.
Mhm.
I think
It's the fairies.
I think we would have preferred it if you'd been upfront with that. But I think I do understand why. Just be careful.
Of course. You've all taught me very well. Sister Constance especially. I'll be writing, always.
I will miss you, Gladys. But no, I hope you'll be very fulfilled back in Bodmin, and obviously we will keep in touch. I suspect it won't be long before you're helping to guide the poor Reverend more than he's helping guide you. I think a little bit of a little more interest and activity, I think, will do the world of good to the village. I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job.
Thank you. Oh, if I'm leaving, I simply must finish these 2 jumpers. Please excuse me. And she runs out of the room. And I think we may leave it there. Sam?
Can I do my little scene? I had a tiny scene that was going to
Yeah.
from this session that
Yeah.
I wanted to do. So I from having mentioned
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
yeah, from having mentioned Vaesen keeping their word to me before, I'm going to go up to my room and just kind of look over this will, which was written to me by someone else because I can't write. Someone very dear to me. It's my own will, and it's unsigned, and I don't even know what's on it. And I will think of this individual who was very dear to me, who is no longer with me, and the words that they kept. And that's going to be me removing my angry mental condition. That's it.
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there unless anybody has anything else specific.
No, it seems a good place to.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. If anyone has any questions or comments, please put them in the chat and we will chat about those. I'll do promo stuff. So links below the video to social media, Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us, and Patreon, where you can support us if you want to, and our YouTube. Wednesday night is Simba Room. This Vaesen is on Monday nights. Thursday nights is Cincinnati Chronicles, the final arc of that, which is like all of the World of Darkness from the other ones all mushed into one World of Darkness. And the next one shot is the 25th of June. Yes, Sunday the 25th of June, Land of Eam, which is billed as The Muppets Meets The Lord of the Rings. So that's going to be fun. And I think that's it for promo things. So yeah, we won't be on next week because I'm unavailable and I am very self-important and don't think that this can run without me. So
got jumped up much,
next
John.
week. I know, unbelievable. But we should be back for the 26th, I think.
I mean, we have in the past talked amongst ourselves for probably going on for 2 hours, but it might be a little bit. You know.
I'd be fine with it. Cool. Thank you, everybody. John, are there any questions or comments in the chat?
In case I disappear again, thank you for the follow from Ticarius and the sub from Nightbites.
Yes, thank you.
Nightbites. I just wanted to say as well, perhaps before we bring up chat, I thought it was really funny and so appropriate that the session when we had most to discuss about the fairy and its relationship to Gale wasn't just in one hit. And I actually thought that was really fitting because I had a great image of Gale just like totally stone-faced, refusing to react to any of these things, just like wide-eyed. No, nothing. I'm not even answering any of these questions. It was kind of really amusing, just refusing to acknowledge the existence of the fairy.
I was just like, this is the perfect time for the fairy to be helping because, like, you know, for peeking behind the curtain, I kind of like, John had mentioned that was going to be his like flashback thing, but then actually immediately, as soon as you got the chance to throw the TNT in when you were in trouble, you did that and it worked. So I was like, well, you don't need it here. So, well, it could be later to fix something else. So. And then it's just unfortunate that Justin was unable to be here this week, but I didn't want to skip another week. So.
It's always kind of weird dealing with situations where a player's not present but the character is, and how do you purposefully ignore every interaction? It was sort of, I think there was some internal tension as to whether we went there or not, but
yeah, it was
in the end it's
hard to balance.
But it's such a big sort of event.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to, obviously don't want to speak for Justin. I would have been really surprised if he was like, do you know what, I will give it a go, let's go right now and have a discussion with the fairy.
So I think that's why I think the blank face worked really well.
Yeah,
it was like no agreement.
I agree.
I refuse to acknowledge.
Yeah,
quite an appropriate reaction.
Just arguing over and around him.
Yeah, and he's just there like
the one who's actually in the middle of it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing Justin's take on this episode. So.
I look forward to that, but I'm disappointed I didn't get to see his face of utter betrayal.
I know. We can ask him to make the face he would have made.
We should get
his reaction video.
I was going to say for the YouTube channel, we can have a Justin reacts to episode 10.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
it was kind of weird as well, like having like arguments again. Like it feels like it's been quite a while since we've had that kind of like tension of like of stuff. Like I feel like we've kind of got along a bit more for quite a while.
I really
I feel like Constance has been a lot more mellow for quite a while. It's been a while since she's been a bit difficult.
Well, it was a nice opportunity to see, like, you know, Bonneville getting really frustrated to see that as a thing, and then Constance being like, you know, no, we need to end this fairy. I'm just a drunkard who is just going to get all my terrible secrets. We all have our own way of coping with these things. It's quite fun.
Yeah, I thought if any time was going to be the time to sort of push it and react, sort of,
Cool. Yeah, comment 4242 isn't Muppets and LOTR the Dark Crystal. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Not
Land
far
of Eme is more wholesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's less Jim Henson in his "Let's Terrify the Children" era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Drop the fork.
Oh,
Fantastic phrase.
bacon in the morning. Oh, why?
I mean, for all we know, he may have been skimming a bit off the pig carcass.
Well, just the carcasses that are just lying around outside at this point. The butcher down the road waiting for our massive order.
Is the
Always
butcher now just
remember-
like giving us like? Is he just delivering bits of pig in the anticipation now? Just yeah.
I told you last time you've ruined his business because he's ordered too much pork now.
No.
'Cause he
We're
thinks
now
that
on a
his-
pork subscription somehow. Yeah, accidentally stumbled upon it. Yeah.
It's cheaper if you buy in bulk. Yeah, 4242 again. We'll always remember old Captain Boaty. He was a good man.
Yeah.
Hasn't he had enough for one evening, says John, related to the rustling in the bushes.
Oh, yeah. I thought that. I was just like, really? Do we need that now? He's just almost died.
He did walk himself out there
I did-
on his own. I feel like you were
On the
asking
night
for
of a
that.
full moon.
I was so
Yeah.
I was so sure you were just going to walk into your death. You were just gonna be like, that's it. I'm going for it. Run in with the gun like a maniac. And just that will be it for Bonneville. Just disappear into the bushes, never to be seen again.
You seem
That
like a
would've been
maniac.
something.
He was the most stable of all of us by that
Yeah.
point. 'Cause the rest of us were still fucked up from things in one way or another. But you got all healed up. Like you were
Yeah,
most with it.
uncannily.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that sort of slow build to fuck it, I'm going back in. It's so
It
good.
was so funny. I was so convinced it had to be. By that point, after you did all that deliberating, it had to be go fight. There was no way you could turn around. You were just like, I'm leaving. After like a good 2 minutes of deliberation.
I also would love to see that as a little mini clip, sort of like little short.
But John was right in the comments. Bonneville's going to survive the horror movie. It's because Bonneville's the only one who would do that. Just like, nah, let's turn around.
That's good fun.
Arguably, Bonneville is the one who already has survived a horror movie.
True.
My thought there was essentially like, survived big horrid sea serpent thing. Now or never. Now is the time to confront. It's like, still not.
Maybe never. Maybe we'll go.
Maybe never. Maybe it was just the growl. It was a low growl. That when a dog hits a real low, that's not nice. That's not nice.
Yeah.
There's no point in beating the sea serpent just to then get mauled to death by a dog in your own back garden.
It's embarrassing. Yeah.
Bonneville is found next morning with Jack Russell bites all over him. But it was the way you prepared. You were like, I know you're there with the gun and everything. You're just, he's ready. He's gonna get it. And then another growl comes and he goes, no.
Yeah.
That everything from the comments?
That's everything.
Cool. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. We won't be on next week, but to fill the gap, you've got Siberia Wednesday, World of Darkness Thursday, and then that again the next week, and then the 25th, Sunday the 25th, is Land of Eme, and we should be back on Monday the 26th. Yeah, cool. Thank you everybody, and catch you next time.